an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
This is my first iPhone, purchased from the Apple Store in Christiana Mall in Delaware, United States in September 2007. A friend who bought it from me back when I replaced it with an iPhone 4 happened to bring it with him when he recently came over to stay. I bought it whilst on holiday in the US for the princely sum of $399 without any sales tax, thanks to Delaware. As the iPhone hadn't been released in the UK yet, it was locked to AT&T and I had to jailbreak it and install an unlock application. The process had been refined since the launch of the phone in June 2007, and tools made quick work of this process. At the time, it really was a breakthrough phone. However, today it's pretty much useless. Whilst it boots quickly, any application that requires internet access are horribly slow or sometimes simply no longer work, such as the stock YouTube application or even loading the weather app. Loading websites also takes forever, including the Apple homepage. It takes over a full minute and 14 seconds to render apple.com, probably due to the processor only being clocked at 412 MHz and a paltry 128 MB of RAM. And websites from today are much more complex than they were 12 years ago. Zooming and scrolling up and down are not smooth and tend to stutter whilst in action. This iPhone is running a custom version of iPhone OS 3.1.3 called White Door. This brought over some features to iPhone OS that were only available on the iPhone 3G and 3GS to the original iPhone. There was much applause from the crowd when Steve Jobs announced the iPhone would have a 2-megapixel camera. However, by today's standards, it's woefully low resolution and slow. You wouldn't want to use this phone to take a spur-of-the-moment photo, as by the time the camera app opened and you took the picture, whatever action you were hoping to capture would have been over long ago. Opening the Photos app, we can see the photo just taken by the camera. Pinch to zoom was introduced in the original iPhone OS, allowing you to zoom into photos. Unfortunately, the weather app no longer pulls data from Yahoo. The built-in YouTube app also is unable to connect to YouTube. And the App Store no longer connects, making downloading software for this platform impossible. As you can see, this device has seen better days. Along the left-hand side is the volume up and down rocker, as well as a mute toggle which puts the phone into silent mode. This toggle is still on my iPhone 8 Plus to this day. On the back is where the previously mentioned camera lives. No bumps here. We can see that this model is an 8GB one, Originally the lineup comprised of a 4GB and 8GB model, although I believe the 4GB one was discontinued shortly after the release. There are no buttons or controls on the right hand side, and at the bottom we see the iPod 30-pin connector, a microphone and a single mono speaker. At the top we see a recessed 3.5mm headphone jack, which not all headphones at the time could make use of. Next is a SIM card tray, which required a SIM card ejection tool that was included in the box, and finally the sleep-wake switch. Inside the settings are very limited controls that allow you to customize the wallpaper, ringtone and sound alerts. Setting up the wallpaper on newer devices is more or less the same process as the original iPhone. I kept this phone as my daily driver for almost 3 years before moving on to an iPhone 4. However, I have fond memories of it and it's been fun to rediscover it after all these years.